The wise guys, and I learned things they would all say to me. You should say, the government's 99-0. They don't lose.
Right. They don't.
He says, you can't be somebody, the way he used to say it, how do you say it? I wonder if I put that in a movie. I might have put it in a movie. He said, you can't be people that won 2 world wars and print their own money.
Very well said.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. He said, they print their own money, they won 2 world wars. You want to fight them?
Right.
He goes, the government's the toughest mob in the world.
True.
You can't beat them.
More so today than ever.
More so today than ever. Than ever. And I remember that, Like I remember all these things they said to me. And I always make notes, put it in another movie and put this in a movie. I'm on a show right now, a great movie, a series, The Godfather of Harlem.
Yes, I loved it, by the way. Yeah, I've watched it all. It's terrific.
With Forrest Whitaker. And
when's the next season starting?
It started already.
Oh, it started?
Yeah, we're in the third
okay.
season now. We finished filming only a few weeks ago with Vincent D'Onofrio and Forrest Whitaker and Paul Sorvino. And great people. Going back in time and seeing all that, I love it because Muhammad Ali and, it's just great. I like doing other things. See, people think, am I a little typecast? Of course. But I've done a lot of movies. Just my most famous ones were the mob movies. Usual Suspects, I was actually a regular.
Great movie also.
Yeah, great movie.
But if you do it so well, what's the difference if you do
it doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't bother me at all. As long as I could play, if I play a mob guy, I want it to be someone with dignity or someone who's different. I won't play, I turn down those, the roles all the time. No. I said, I'm not doing that, no. I said, mob guys are human. They're funny guys.
Yeah, but especially after Sonny and Bronx Tale, you gotta keep it at that level.
Yeah, like when I did Cheech in Bullets Over Broadway, and I was fortunate to get nominated for the Academy Award. But Cheech was a genius playwright, and he was a killer. It was very different. So I like doing roles that are different.
How did you like Modern Family?
Oh, it was great.
I got to tell you, Ed O'Neill, you got to love the guy.
Oh, Ed is the great.
Got to love the guy. I spoke with him a couple of weeks back. The one thing, and I told him, I said, Ed, of all the comments I've gotten on anything I've ever done, I have not one bad comment. People love you.
Yes.
They love this guy.
Love this guy.
And I understand why. He's one of the greatest guys ever. I should have told him he would love to get together with you.
Oh, we're good friends.
Yeah.
Ed is, and let me say this about Ed. Ed's a tough guy.
Yeah, I know. No.
It'll choke you out in 30 seconds.
Comes out of Youngstown. I know he's a black belt or whatever.
Black belt in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
He will choke somebody out in 10 seconds. Yeah. You want to mess with Ed O'Neill. I'll tell you right now. Yeah. But a great guy. Lovely guy. A lovely man.
Did you enjoy the Modern Family?
Oh, yeah. I did about 10 of those. And I just had fun. Well, Steve, the writer of it, Steve Levinson, I hope I'm saying his last name right, is an absolute genius. And he wrote that, and he just writes funny, he's just funny, right? He writes this great stuff. You just read it and go, come on, this is a killer.
It's good stuff.
And I loved it.
I never saw Modern Family.
Yeah.
A couple of quick episodes, I saw you in it, but Married with Children, I told Ed, when I was in jail, they had me in a hole. I was in lockdown for a little over 2 years.
Wow.
And in this particular place that they used to move me around a lot, but they had bars instead of a solid door. Right outside on the tier was a television. Right. And every night at 6 o'clock, I'd watch Married with Children. That's where I met Ed. I didn't know
That's
who he was.
That's where you met him.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. Oh, he's just, you would love him. You met him.
Yeah.
But he's a great guy. We got to go out to dinner one night, the three of us.
For sure, yeah. I'm sure we'll laugh like crazy.
Oh, that's all we do. Because he's a great storyteller, too.
Yeah.
He'll tell you stories about the guys, and you'll laugh. Forget it. You'll laugh, man. I mean, that's the great thing about a podcast, which I really like. You meet a lot of different people. You get an opportunity to meet people where you can control it yourself.
Right.
Where you can call somebody in and meet with them, and you share stories. I think it's just great.
It's great. It's a great platform, great forum.
Yeah, I mean, I was very happy to get involved.
I got to ask you something, because I have so much respect for actors, and I'll tell you why. I told you earlier.
Right.
I've been speaking for 25 years, all over the world, different forums. I can't read my own notes on stage. They distract me.
Right.
I gained so much respect for actors because of the dialogue, just the dialogue alone, without getting into the part and doing all the things that go with it. You starred in a one-man play.
One-man show that I still do.
The Bronx Tale.
Yes.
You're 18 different characters.
Right.
You wrote all the dialogue.
Right.
And you recite all the dialogue.
Right.
How the hell you do that?
Let me tell you, it's you have to practice.
Oh.
You know, it wasn't hard for me until, when I say not hard for me, it got harder now only because I started in the play, then I did the movie, and then I did the musical. But all three dialogues are a little different. Close, but different. After I did the musical on Broadway, then I started doing the one-man show again. I literally would say the line and wait for the other person to talk to me. Then realize, holy shit, you have to do it. It was literally that crazy. You know, it was that crazy. I mean, it was fun. I mean, originally Nick Cordero did it, who got nominated for a Tony, who played Cheech, who I did in the movie, and he played that on Broadway. He got nominated for Tony, and then he played the original Sonny on Broadway because I didn't want to be in it on Broadway. I wanted just someone new, and he was young and handsome and brilliant and wonderful. But then he left to do a film, then I took his place. Then I said, all right, I'll do it. Then I took his place eventually, but he passed away from COVID, which was horrible.
Oh, God.
Horrible. Young man, 41 years old. God rest his soul. Yeah, after I started doing all three, it was hard. That was the first time that's ever been done, where a person wrote and started the one-man show, the major movie, and the musical. And so I'm very proud of that.
You should be.
And you have to come, you and your wife, be my guest, have to come and see it. I do it, I'm doing it. If anybody ever wants to go see it, they can go to chazzpalminteri.net, and my whole schedule is on there for this year and next year. I appear all over the United States. I know I'm going to be in Palm Springs, California. I don't know if I'm going to be in LA, but if you ever, I'll let you know where I'm going to be. If you ever see,
travel, yeah.
If you ever see it and you want to come, you might be my guest. On my podcast, I talk about it too, so it's fine.
Great. No, we're definitely going to.
You got to see it.
100%.
Because you
especially
will,
seeing it in reverse.
But you're seeing it in reverse.
Yes.
You'll see the movie, the musical. Now you're going to see how it originally started. When De Niro saw it, he was like, you know, even Pacino was like, how do you do that? And I said,
those guys, right? They're asking you.
They're asking me, right? You know, well, it's really. I mean, people just said it's. You know, I hate to talk about it like that, but it's like one of the greatest one-man shows ever done. Because usually one-man shows, Michael, they take a sip of water and they tell funny stories.
Yeah.
This is, I literally do a movie on stage, straight through, linear, without stopping. The whole movie. People go, I don't understand that. How could you do that? I go, I don't understand it. It was this idea I had, and when I did it, it just worked. And it just, you know, it got offered over $1 million just for the story. And that's what really broke me.
And how did the show first get shown someplace? I mean, what theater picked it up? How did that happen?
What happened was, I mean, I could tell you, if you want, I'll try to make it, I'll condense it. Because what happened was, I was working, I was at Broadway, I worked on Broadway, I went to LA, and while I was in LA, I got parts right away. I auditioned Hill Street Blues, Dallas, Matlock. You know, remember those shows? I got on all those shows. Miniseries, Peter Gunn. And then I started putting money away, but then as anything, you start running out of money. And I ran out of money. And I used to bounce in New York because I boxed and I could handle myself pretty well. So I said, well, I got to go back to bouncing again. So I got a job at a fancy club in Beverly Hills called 2020.
I remember that club.
Remember 2020?
Yeah, of course.
I got a job there, working the door there. And one night, I was there for like 3 months. I was collecting unemployment, working there, you know, trying to make ends meet again. And one night, this guy comes walking over to me, and I had the clipboard and the velvet rope, and he starts yelling, I have to get in there, let me in. I said, oh, take it easy, you know? He goes, do you know who I am? Now, when a person says those words to me, do you know who I am? I said, yes, you're the guy who's not getting in tonight. Because anybody who says those words to me, out. So I walked away from him. He was bitching and yelling, and all of a sudden, the boss comes out and he looks at him and says, Swifty. And I go, Swifty? And it was Swifty Lazar.
Wow.
the biggest agent in the world, and it was his party that I was keeping him coming in from, and he was late. So he looks at me and says, "You'll be fired in 15 minutes." Just like he said, 15 minutes later, I got fired. Just like he said. I get back into my beat-up car. I go back to my broken-down apartment in North Hollywood, and here am I. I've been on stage. I was an actor, but I caught a bad time. I ran out of money, you know. And I put my hand in my pocket. I take out, I see the card on my refrigerator. It says, "The saddest thing in life is wasted talent." Well, that's my father's line. He wrote that line, not me. And I put it in the movie. And I looked at it, and I held the card, I remember, and I said, I'm not going back to New York. I put it down. I went to Thrifty Drugstore on Ventura Boulevard, and I got 5 tabs of yellow paper, legal paper, and I said, if they won't give me a part, I'll write one myself. And I sat down, and I started writing about this killing that I saw, 5 minutes of it, just 5 minutes of it. And I performed it on Monday for my theater workshop. And they were like blown away. And I was like, all right, this could be something here. And during the week, I write 10 more minutes. I perform it on Monday. Wow. And then out of that 10 minutes, I took 7 minutes, 5 minutes. So I kept doing that each week. Each week, I kept doing that, taking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And after like almost a year, I had 90 minutes of this one-man show that was workshop, that worked, that I knew it had material that worked. So I called one of my friends up, a guy, not a wise guy, a legitimate guy who I used to bodyguard for in New York when I needed money, and he lent me, he sent me a check for like, I think at that time, 40 grand, which was a lot of money.
Yeah, back then.
Didn't read anything, he just said, you know, I saw you in a play, I saw you, you got talent, I believe in you. He goes, pay me back, whatever, don't worry about it. I got the 40 grand, I hired a publicist, I did this, I put on the show, Michael.
In L.A.?
In L.A. At a 60-seat theater on the West Coast Ensemble on Sunset Boulevard. Bam! People were talking about it. All of a sudden, like people from the L.A. Times came. They heard about this thing that people are freaking out over, and the crowds were getting so big. So I moved into my theater company, which was 300 seats, selling out there. It was crazy. Lines around the block. It was like every A-list actor, Pacino came, Burt Reynolds came. All these people came because they wanted to play Sonny. They heard about this role and this thing. And every A-list director came. Ray Stark, Jerry Weintraub were calling me, were coming to the place, this theater on Cahuenga Boulevard. Marty Bregman, because he wanted it for Al, were coming and seeing it, people freaking out. And I'm like, holy smoke. All of a sudden I get a phone call. I get offered $250,000 for the rights.
Right.
Calling me at my house. I didn't even have an agent. I didn't even know how they got my home phone number. So I said, yeah, but I want to play Sonny and I want to write the screenplay. I said, no. We just won't want. I said, no. I said, well, give me 24 hours to think about it. I hung up and I spoke to my mom and dad, and I wanted to help them out because they did come from money. They had credit card bills. So I said, my mother and father said, you do what you want. Don't worry about us. We'll be fine. I called the guy back and I said, no, not doing it. They said, you're going to turn down $250,000? I said, yeah. I had $200 in the bank. 3 weeks later, they called back again, the same studio, $500,000. In LA, when you say no, it's the most powerful language in the world.
Absolutely.
When they say no, they think you want more money.
More money, right.
Right. But it wasn't the money. I said, am I in? No. I said, I'm not interested. Boom. After the 250, it became numbers to me. It was make-believe. I didn't care, right? All of a sudden, about 3 weeks later, I finally signed with William Morris. Okay. CAA, Michael Ovitz was coming after me. CAA, William Morris, and ICM were all the big.
Did you know Jack Gilardi at the time?
I didn't know him, but I knew he was there. Okay, they came after me. They wanted me to sign me, and I finally ended up with William Morris. With William Morris, a funny story. What happened with William Morris when they were all three were courting me? What happened was, William Morris, I called up because my car kept overheating. I had this Honda with a little hole in in the radiator, and it kept leaking water. So I was supposed to go there, and the thing leaked, and I overheated. I was like, oh, shit. So I called up, it was Lee Cohen and Fred Westheimer. I said, listen, I can't make the meeting today. They were like, what do you mean? Why? What happened? You signed with somebody else? I said, no, I just, why? I go, my car overheated. Stay right there, we'll get back to you. I said, the hell is this, right? I hung up the phone. What was that all about? An hour later, Michael, I get a knock on the door. I open the door. There's this guy there. He goes, you Chazz Palminteri? I said, yeah. He goes, come with me. I said, who are you? He goes, just come with me in the parking lot. I walk with him. I go in the parking lot. It's a brand new 1989 Cadillac Eldorado. Black with saddle interior. And he goes, here. William Morris says, don't be late for the meeting. It's yours. I go, it's mine. What are you talking about? I call the guy. I go, Fred, what's going on? He goes, we leased it for you for 2 years. Don't worry. I said, but I didn't sign with you guys yet. He goes, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He goes, you sign with us, great. We want to make sure you're not late. I ended up signing with them. But anyway, when I did the show, it was insane. Insane. And finally, then William Morris took me to another meeting at another studio, and the guy, I'll never forget it, Michael, he had a piece of paper, he slid it over to me. There was like 12 people around the room. He said, Chazz, if you sign that paper, you'll have a check tomorrow for $1 million. $200 in the bank, my hand to God. I said, is there a bathroom near here? And he said, yeah, right over there. The executive bathroom. So I got up, I walked in the executive by myself, I shut the door. I'm standing, I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm going, $1 million. Finally, I put that, here's what I said before. I put my hand in my pocket, I took the card with me for some reason. And it said, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. And I looked in the mirror. Could I curse? Could I? Yeah. I looked at the mirror and I said, fuck it. It's just what I said. I'll never forget it. I walked back out and I said, look, guys, I'll sign that paper. I said, but I play Sonny and I write the screenplay. And the guy the head of the studio went like this. I'll never forget it. He goes, Chazz, you're a wonderful actor, but we cannot make this movie with an unknown. Nobody knows you. I said, well, they will know me because this movie's going to be great. And he said, I said, well, I guess that's it. So I stood up. And when you stand up at a meeting,
that's it. It's over.
It's over, right? I stood up and I said, thank you very much I really appreciate you inviting me, and thank you for the Italian lunch, but I'm sorry, I can't do it. And he goes, you know, Chazz, he goes, this movie will never get made. You realize that, right? And I looked at him and I said, you're right, with you, but it will get made. Don't forget, I was 38 years old. I wasn't a kid. And I grew up in the street. I said, you're right, it will, but not with you. And he goes, what makes you so sure? I said, because it's just too fucking good. And sooner or later, somebody will make it with me. And I walked out. My agents are looking at me going, Jesus, 10%, you know. So I walked out, and 2 weeks later, I did the show. People standing ovation as always. I got off the stage, and the guy walks over me and says, the stage manager says, go to your dressing room, De Niro's waiting for you. I said, De Niro? I said, Robert De Niro? He said, yeah, you just saw the show. He's in your dressing room waiting. I walked in the dressing room, there was Bob De Niro. I didn't know him. And he goes, you know, he's looking at me like with that look, you know, he goes, how'd you do that? You know, he goes, that's amazing. That's the greatest one-man show I ever saw. He goes, look, they're gonna come to me anyway if you sell this thing. He goes, but here's what, he goes, you should play Sonny. You'll be great as Sonny. And he goes, and you should write it because it'll be real. It'll be honest. And he goes, I'll play your father and I'll direct it. And he goes, and if you make it with me, I'll make it right, Chazz. And he would shake my hand, that's the way it'll be. I shook his hand, Michael, and that's what happened.
That was it, wow.
You don't give because you want to get something. You give because you feel it's in your heart to give it.
People are going to wait 2.5 hours?
Right.
I'm going to sit here and wait with them.
Exactly. But they knew it was him. Same clothes. Same clothes with freckles with red hair. On Broadway.
You did something.
You did something. On Broadway. He was really the beginning of political science,
yes.
if you think about it. Yes.